The big picture. What does that mean to you? For many, it could mean many different things. So I'll give you some of my examples for me in my personal life, what that meant to me over the years and what it means to me today. The big picture is really not just making decisions in a vacuum, but really understanding the implications all around you. Decisions you make today, how will they impact you in the future? How will they impact your family, your relationship with your significant other, your friends, and so on and so forth? The environment, your community. What's the big picture? I've always tried to keep that in the context of my personal life, in areas of growth and spirituality. In the areas of growth, for example, as I was growing up, I always wanted to look at, where was I going in my life? I had no plans for college, but I thought one day I'd take a chance on it. And my big picture at the time was trying to help my dad in his TV repair shop. That's why I went to school for electronics. But where it led me, because I had no view of this, was a 30-year career in aerospace, building and launching satellites. I mean, I never, ever thought that would happen, but it did. But it took that initial step to say, look, I don't know what I want to do in life, but I'm going to go and take some courses in electronics. I went to Harbor College. It led me to Cal Poly Pomona. The rest is history. You could also look at the big picture from a financial perspective. There are so many demands on our time, so many demands on our wallet. You start to ask yourself, well, what's the big picture of it all? If you really want to look at your life from a financial perspective, you almost need to take a step back and say, well, where am I spending my time and money? Is it required? Is it worth it? If my big picture is to retire young or to get a house, buy a house or something that my family needs, are you willing to sacrifice the things you're spending your time and money on now to enable that, to enable your big picture from that respect? Many times we get caught in the day-to-day. We got bills to pay. And I've said this before in my other podcast, we never take time to pay ourselves first. It's one of the first things I learned when I started to invest is really just take a little bit, put it to the side, and then, continue to pay your bills and then grow that side of your financial picture of saving and start lowering the amount you're spending. That's kind of the approach my wife and I took in our life. And it's paid off for us. As I retired now I'm 58 years old, well, going to be 58 soon, but it really paid off. But that was 30 years in the making. So if financial part of your life is really something really important to you, then you got to take in consideration, a lot of the elements that you're spending time and money on. Are you learning how to invest your money? Are you talking to someone about how to do that? Even if you don't have a lot of money, just start somehow, even if it's just putting it in a savings account or CD or something like that. But just start, take that next step from a financial perspective. Don't be afraid to do it. Don't be afraid to ask questions. From a faith perspective, I know a lot of times people don't like to talk about religion, but as I do these podcasts, I keep thinking about, three areas in my life, personal, things I've always wanted to achieve, things my family, my wife and I want to do. So kind of from a personal perspective, right? Financial perspective, there's that element. In a lot of cases, all three of these and faith, they're all interrelated. And so from a faith perspective, it depends on your belief, right? For me, I'm Catholic, so I follow many of the things that I try to follow all of the things taught in the church, and adhere to the 7 sacraments and so on and so forth. But for others, it may be different. So I just ask myself, am I doing enough? Am I spending time with God enough? Am I praying enough? Am I thanking Him enough? Am I trying to get out and help other people? Am I trying to make a difference in my community? Am I going to church every week? Am I taking the Holy Eucharist in good standing? These are the things that I look at from a faith perspective. Because in the end, we all come into this world on one day and we all leave on another. And in between, some days are long, some days are not so long. But we all come in and leave the same way. And from a faith perspective, since I was little, I always wanted God to say, Anthony, you did a good job. Come on into heaven. It's always been my ultimate big picture. Now that's me. Just ask yourself what your big picture is when it comes to personal, when it comes to financial, when it comes to faith. And if you have a couple more to add to the list, please do so. Put them in the comments section so I can consider those as well. You can also add health in there, but I would also look to that as something personal, being healthy, eating better, taking care of my body, and so on and so forth. So these are things that are coming to me right now. And I hope, for you, this kind of reflection helps you to dig deep inside and ask yourself if you're really doing the things today that are going to help you achieve your big picture today, tomorrow, and in the future. I hope this helped. God bless you all. Have a great one.